Woods with the Philadelphia Tribune. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Talk to me a little bit your preparation physically for the choreography that the John Wick franchise is known for. How did you physically prepare just taking on, getting into that mindset?
Um, it was a lot. It was a lot of work. It was a few months of like full training in every way. I definitely had to um, step in and dive in like really hard. A lot of physical, of course, strength training at the gym with my trainer, but also many hours at the stunts facility working with the stunt guys on the design and the choreographies of the fights and also gun training because the character goes through a lot of different weapons throughout the movie. And just for me also trying, I had never been trained in this way before, so I was pushed to new limits. My body was pushed to doing things that I had never done before, and it was good for me to discover what I was good at, what I could really use for the character, what were my strengths, and how we could um, just like put that into the fights, and also it helped me honestly, kind of like it felt for me like I was training at the Ruska Roma at times, like I was actually going through the pain. And it really puts you in the mindset of a warrior. You're surviving this training, and it taught me how important it is also to take care of myself. Like it was also nutrition and recovery and physio and all those things that you're like, I don't know, you just don't think about, and you realize how important it is if something happens, you're 1 week out, and we can't have that. So it really is like it's a level of discipline in every way, that I had never experienced before. But really cool, because when you push through and you get it, it's like, oh my God, it's so awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. It looked cool. I will say this.
Thank you.
I know it probably was hard being on a strict diet and doing all of this, but you looked really cool, so it was worth
Thank you. Yes, it was.
it. Thank you so much, and best of luck with the project.
Thank you.
Felicidades.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're rolling.
Hi, Kathy Woods with the Philadelphia Tribune. Look at you, David. We're in the mix of things, and this world.
We're doing
When you
it.
sign up for it, like, were you like, well, hold on, because John Wick World, you falling down steps, out of buildings, and then you got to get back up. Like it's like, oh, no problem. Were you a little bit? Of course, there's a part of you that is excited, but then you're like, can you clarify a little bit how far do I need to lean into the action sequences?
All the way. All the way. There's no reeling back on this. There's no I can't do this, I can't do that. It's always yes, yes, yes. And if I can't, teach me. Teach me, teach me, teach me. I want to learn how to do it. And then when I felt like I couldn't do something, the fight coordinator come up to me and be like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And that sort of encouragement was beautiful, because sometimes when you're doing a movie and you say, no, I can't, and they'll be like, great, bring the stunt double. Do you have to worry? Sit down, relax, have a drink, have some orange juice. We'll bring the stunt guy. This is the first time they're like, come on, you can do it. And it's like, and you're like, oh man, this is like football. This is like a coach. I was like, oh, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. And then you do it and you're like, oh, mind blown. You just bursted through a barrier of what you thought you couldn't do.
Well, if the guy who's the franchise built on it, the gentlemen, right, are in their 50s, 60s.
Yes.
So those of us a little bit younger, you can't really say I'm not feeling it. Talk about not just that, but now we have like a different chapter. And one of the things that is about this is it starts off slow, but when it takes off, it's like, hold on, right? It goes
Yeah.
left, right, you're in different locations. Talk about being in an action film, but it also has a great story. It's not just like, hey, we're just gonna kick in doors. There's a purpose. She's on a revenge mission. She has nothing to lose. So she's a different type of operative than John was, because for John it was a lot, but for her at this particular point, she's lost everyone that she loves. She has no connection other than to her one friend. So she's on full throttle. Like she is either you're gonna kill me or I'm killing everybody. Talk about that different aspect as the story enters a new chapter.
Well, I always feel like stories like that are hard to believe when you don't sense danger within the protagonist, and having Anna do her own stunts, there's a leniency of like she could really get hurt. Some of these things do really hurt. So like when you watch like Keanu fight, there's elements that you're like, is he okay? It makes you lean in a little bit more. And because of that sort of practicality of the stunts, you do get engrossed in the storyline a lot more. You do care about it because that person is actually really getting hurt for whatever their purpose is. And so when you add that along with the big spectacles of the locations and the wonderful places and the explosions and all of these like very inventive ways of doing stunts, I mean, that in itself is part of the character of the entire film. And I feel like that is what, as a John Wick fan, that's what I go to see these movies for, is like, what else are they gonna do that I'm gonna be like, oh, I can't believe they did that. And that's what excites me about this movie.
The other part that I love is we're seeing Latinos this summer in big blockbusters, right? And they're not background dancers. Like we're in it, we're doing the stuff, whether you're the bad guy, you're the hero. Talk about that because I think we talk when we talk about diversity, we don't want like paint by numbers. We want to be a part of the situation. We want to be seen as a character, and
Yeah.
these big blockbusters are showing that it can be done with Anna, with you. It's not like you're there, you help drive the story. It is not one of those things where, like, oh, we need four men and we need somebody tall and we need somebody who happens to be this. It can be done.
Yeah.
Talk about how great that is with all these people saying, well, blah, 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 blah. But you have it. You have it in this, you have it in another current blockbuster where
Yeah.
Latinos are front and center and they're helping drive the story.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It is very much like it doesn't feel like a checklist. It feels like you are the best person for this job. And it's great because you saw it in Anna's performances in her previous action films. We're like, no, you can carry an entire film on your shoulders on this specific task because we care about you enough. And then also you're really good at these stunt things. Just prove it. There is no like, well, it's people are going to like us because we're hiring a specific category of actors to be able to, finance or promote our films. It is very much based on talent and merit in these moments. So I just happen to be the beneficiary because they were looking for a Latino dad. And I was like, yo, you need one? I'm here, you know? And they were like, yeah, come down. I was like, thank God. Thank God I'm Latino on this one. Let's go. So it's right. Like there is these doors that are kind of being burst open during the summer, but this sort of has been being laid down since like the 60s and the 70s, in terms of film and like Latinos being in film, that now you're getting an opportunity to just see it in a more universal scale rather than sort of a quota.
Absolutely. Well, I love this for you. I think, you really kick off the movie in a wonderful way. I think some of your scenes I like, especially as you turn the corner and, now you don't have a gun anymore, all that stuff. I think it's ultra cool. You can definitely, I think you will gain cool points with your family and your fans where you can be like, oh, look at me. Look at me. Not that you now can be the bodyguard, but you're like, push comes to shove. I know a couple moves, but I love this for you, and I can't wait for everybody else to see it because this movie is a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Yeah, if there's ever a Bodyguard remake, just hire me as Kevin Costner. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And again, best of luck with the project.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sharon Katia Woods. Hi, Sharon Katia Woods with the Philadelphia Tribune. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you very much. Pleasure to be speaking to you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. How do you
Absolutely.
finding things? Have you seen the film?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yes, I
Great.
have.
What did you make of it?
I love that. I mean, I'm a huge John Wick fan, you know.
Oh,
Bless
okay.
Keanu for falling down the stairs 800 times.
It's true. Endless, relentless, and
I
joke.
know, I know. So let's talk about
That's the beauty of the franchise, isn't it? There's humor. They have such humor
yes.
in this guy. Can he really? Yes, he can. Yes, he can go down the stairs 1,700 times. I love that cheeky, tongue-in-cheek kind of approach to the story today. Sorry,
So
you
I,
were going to say.
so I do have to ask, it's these type of movies, everyone is always like, yeah, I'd love to be a part of it. And then you go, hold on a minute. But what exactly are you envisioning for my character? Because as much as it looks cool, am I going to be falling down the steps 800 times myself? And how are we working that out? You know what I mean?
You know something? I never questioned what my character would suffer, what injuries my character would suffer. I never considered for a moment that it would be a negative outcome for her. I mean, everybody's going to meet some element of pain in this franchise. I mean, and as far as the ballerina film goes, it stays true to that. You know, there's no stone, there's no piece of furniture unturned that isn't knocked out of the place, or some wall that's not blasted. And I think for me, to be able to just be in it I was going to say yes. If I had to do stunts, yes, happily. I'm that girl who wants to jump out of windows into the fire, be shot, whatever it takes, as long as it's pretend. Yeah, I'm that person. I don't ever want to be somebody in an action film who's only just saying words. I find the physicality of performance exciting, and that was one of the reasons why I was on board. I was like, yeah, train me to do whatever you want, and they did sort of induct me into the world of their stunts and their weaponry, and it was never, I never considered that I'd be, getting some sort of ailment or injury within the process of being Nogi at all, or that she would be inflicted with some pain. But if she did, so be it. There's always a reason behind it, and that's what I love about the film. There's nobody who escapes some sort of pain, if be it internal, mental, or physical.
Well, your character teaches Eve how to be an operative, for lack of a better word, you know? Do you teach her how to do this thing that she can get revenge? Talk about that, because she's just focused on revenge, and you're teaching her like, no, this requires skill, this requires savvy, this requires something that she lacks, which is discipline, and you're trying to convey that to her.
Yeah, it's funny. I sort of liken it to the stages of grief. This is a character who's lost her family. Basically, she's displaced. Her father's gone. She's on her own, and she's an orphan. And she's so young that she goes through the stages of grief as she grows up, and as she goes through the training of the Ruska Roma, and as Nogi is teaching her, mentoring her. You sort of see those 5 stages: the anger, the denial, the acceptance, start to turn into stages of becoming a warrior, of becoming a fighter. And so in order for her to accept the discipline and learn the discipline, she has to accept the loss and be able to take that anger and utilize that in a way. So they're all so tight, so closely connected in a sense of mental discipline. So I think the thing with Nogi's character is she understands that. She's been through that in some way, shape, or form, without giving too much away. And so she, I think, as somebody who sees a child so young going through that, if she takes time, and there's this softness that they have this connection where you see two sides of people who are really quite harsh and have to be because they've been through a lot. She pulls that shell away, and she gets underneath the surface, I think that's what it takes. If you are going to be an assassin, if you are going to be that person who comes out surviving, you need the focus, you need the discipline. And I think they've had enough time. They have enough time to really. Nogi has enough time to instill all of that into her practice, into Eve's way of being.
And also talk about working with the amazing Angelica Houston. You know, it's been a while since we see her on the screen in something like this. And you know, I just love like her facial expressions where she's just like, oh, get out. It's consequential. Yes, it's a big deal, but it's really not.
It's not. The one-liners that Angelica has, which are the stings out of her tail, are beautiful. I've enjoyed watching her in all of the John Wick films. I have to give you the truth though. I actually haven't met Angelica. I was so looking forward to working with her. And you know, when they told me that Nogi was going to be the director's side right-hand woman, it was like, you know, it was I was just ecstatic to be working with such an extraordinary legend. She's you know, she's creme de la creme, I keep saying, and it's the truth. She's one of our finest standing actors, and she, for me, it was like, yeah, what do we do? What scenes do I have? And then they said, actually, you're in Budapest and she's in LA, and so we had to do green screens.
Oh,
Fortunately, I'm yet to meet her, but to share an actual screen, an actual various different shots that you see with us, you'd never know it. But we're not together, but in spirit and in joy and in celebration of working with such an extraordinary. I mean, we grew up, we've all grown up and seen Angelica in so many different forms, and whichever world and realm she's existed in on our screens, it's extraordinary. She's just got such sass as a director. She's fun. So I'm excited to meet her, and hopefully I get to soon as the universe decides.
Absolutely. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Love this for you, and may you meet Angelica in person. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Best of luck with the project.
Thank you so much. Thank you too. Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Good one.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you hitting play on that interview. But you know what else would help? Hit that like button. Also, subscribe so you can hear and see my next interview. And as always, thank you for your support.